Hi, this is Dr. Danny Pine, one of the deputy editors of the American Journal of Psychiatry. And today I'm going to be talking about the May edition of the American Journal of Psychiatry. I'll be talking about two of the outstanding articles that appear in this month, describing some of their findings and the relevance for the field of psychiatry. Autism spectrum disorders are some of the conditions that have been studied with particular sophistication in recent years. And this sophistication has applied to clinical measures, as well as measures of brain structure and genetics. Pretzsch and colleagues report important new data that weave together a story that connects these three sets of measures. That is clinical measures, measures of brain structure, and measures of genetics. So as a first step, the authors look at trajectories of particular symptom patterns in a relatively large sample of patients with autism spectrum disorders and healthy comparisons. In a next step, the authors relate these patterns of symptoms over time to measures of brain structure. And then in a final step, the authors add in data on genetic correlates to examine relationships among all three factors. That's trajectories of clinical symptoms, aspects of brain structure, and genetic correlates. And the findings are important because they show us a possible pathway for future research that generates clinical insights by combining data from both genetics and brain structure. We've gathered extensive data on cross-sectional relations between brain structure and psychopathology. And with time, these extensive data have led to prospective studies that examine the relationship between brain structure and important clinical variables. As our methods have improved, the sophistication of these studies has also increased. And Roberts and colleagues use such sophisticated methods in a new longitudinal study on the brain structural correlates of bipolar disorder. The investigators use a high-risk design where patients are studied with diffusion MRI, an important measure of brain structure as it connects different parts of the brain. And the investigators relate longitudinal changes in structural connectivity assessed with this method with longitudinal changes in the expression of risk for bipolar disorder. The important new findings suggest that it may be possible to uncover relations between changes in brain structure and changes in clinical expression that might one day be useful in terms of predicting risk for bipolar disorder.